one podcast, mining the Magic the Gathering community for salt. This is the Howling Salt Mine. It's the Howling Salt Mine. The Howling Salt Mine.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Howling Salt Mine podcast, the podcast where we delve into those salty mines of the Magic the Gathering community, find the salty stories, the salty posts that we love, put them in our mine cart, and bring them right back up to you, our dear prospectors at home. As always, I'm your host, Sam, and I'm joined by my two snarky co-hosts, Mike and Tony. Say hey, guys.
What up?
Hello.
But before we go any further, you know what we got to do. Shout out our nice tier patrons. This week we have Alex Ballix, Dr. Black, Accidental TPK, and Z.
Nice.
Thanks for being so nice. We appreciate it. We appreciate how nice you are. Well, guys, I hurt my fingy.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, next topic.
I hurt my fingy too, but in a very different way. How did you hurt your fingy?
Oh, I hit mine with a hammer.
Yeah. I shut mine in a door.
Jeez, that seems, I don't know if that's worse than mine. That seems pretty bad though.
Doors are terrible. Doors and fingers are
It's one of
bad
those things where, like,
I
combination.
feel like hammers and fingers are a pretty bad combination too.
Yeah. Doors, I think a hammer is probably worst case damaging one finger.
Yeah, that's true.
A door, you could be looking
it
at
could
a
be like-
whole
Full hand.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? Well, I mean, let's assess the damage here.
Well, so it's one of these things where, like, in order to get into my place, there's like a main door to like the building, and then like down into like my actual humble abode.
The mines, yeah.
Yeah. But like kind of
We know
cave.
you're subterranean.
cave,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But so the first door, like it's just like an old ass house. And so the way the framing is not like, I don't even know how this door came to be, but like when you go to open it, it's like so close to the edge, like where the location of the actual handle, like I literally have to use two fingers to like open. I'm like, who
Well,
the
good thing you're a
fuck
rock
did
climber,
this?
dude. You're like,
I mean,
oh,
basically.
fucking hell yeah, this grip is sick.
But so when
Talk up before you
and-
grab
and it's like low, so you have to like kind of bend down to actually like get it. It's really just like such poor
I
placement.
can't imagine this at all.
It's such poor place. I'll send you a picture when I go home.
Or invite me to your place, whatever.
No.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And
It's a
so
business relationship.
exactly.
Strictly professional.
A lot of times, if I go to shut the door, but I try and use the handle itself, as I pull it shut, it like there is not enough room, and so you catch your finger in it. But this time, I really caught my finger.
Oof.
I like skinned it like kind of
Ooh,
good the other day.
Degloved it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
degloved
I know.
it, baby. Is that what you call that?
Oh, that's a real term. Don't
Oh.
look it up. Don't Google it. Don't Google that.
We'll put it in the show notes.
No, we will not. Don't Google
We will
it.
not.
Don't Google it.
Dan, put in an image of what that is.
No, Dan, no. Just put in like a kitten or something.
Yeah.
Something cute. Get our minds off it.
But yeah, I feel like I hadn't done it in a while, but it was like as soon as I did it, it like hurt, and I let out a mighty fuck. And there were some people walking by on the street, and they turned. It was enough that they were like, "We're not gonna say anything. We're just gonna like stare
Like,
a little bit."
what's going on with that guy?
Yeah.
That's
Wait, it
really
fucking
funny.
hurt. Yeah. What happened to your fingy?
Well, I was assembling. I got a new Pelican case to bring our microphones with us when we go to
hold
conventions.
your pelicans.
To hold on my Pelicans.
Hold your
Yeah.
pelican.
And I was switching out the latches for some cool red ones because I wanted it to be cool.
Wow.
And I was like hammering this really tiny pin in. So I was securing the pin. The pin in like the area to hammer it was too tight for an actual hammer to hit. So I was
Like a cotter pin, like a.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
All right. We'll just keep moving past.
Yeah, let's just keep moving.
Yeah. Never say that again. Whatever that was.
Don't say that in front of
We
me.
don't want that.
What'd you
as
just
a part
call
of
me?
the
A
show.
cotter pin?
Yeah.
So I was holding the pin with a pair of pliers and then hammering the pliers to like push it in. And the pliers were kind of wiggly. So I was like, oh, I'll just just like pinch it a little closer and like really hold it. So my finger was like right there and I
Yeah.
just smacked it and immediately was like, oh, I hit my finger. Like, oh, my nail got a little messed up. And then it was just like a fucking cartoon where it just like filled up with blood. And, I let out a nice Tom and Jerry yell.
Freak.
I was like,
Just pulsing in red.
Literally. Yeah, it was kind of bad, It's just one of those things where I'm I'm handy. I can like do stuff around the house, and then you hurt yourself doing it, and you're like, I'm a fucking dumbass. I'm such an idiot. Yeah.
Yourself,
I'm like just a clown. But it is nice to do some like fixer up stuff. Do you guys have like tools in your house? Let me ask you this.
I do.
We have a toolbox.
You got a toolbox?
I have many tools.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I got a toolbox.
I feel like growing up, my dad was very Mr.
Fix-It kind of.
Yeah. And like also just in his job, he had access to lots of tools. He definitely stole a bunch of tools. And so we had all sorts of weird shit that like nobody else had.
Yeah.
And like I don't know that we ever used any, but like we had it.
That's the best when you got the weird shit, man.
Yeah. So
I just bought like a
lots of tools.
strap wrench so I could replace a faucet in one of my tubs. Oof.
Nice.
It fucking sometimes when you get the right tool for the job, you're just like, this is amazing.
Well, it
oh
will
God.
take it from being like, oh, this is gonna take me forever.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna like strip stuff. I'm gonna like fuck
Yeah,
things
you're gonna
up.
destroy it.
Yeah. Like, using the right tool literally can take a job from 20 minutes to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true. Not to like throw shade at my my sister-in-law and her lovely boyfriend, but we were visiting them in
But
Colorado.
here we go.
We were visiting them in Colorado, and we were staying in their room because we had Evelyn with us and stuff. And the doorknob to their room, like we like closed the door and the knob just like popped right off and fell on the ground.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that happens sometimes. Been meaning to tighten that. And I was like, I'll tighten it right now.
Yeah.
Like you got a screwdriver, I'll tighten it right now. And they took out like the Home Depot starter kit where it's like one hammer, one screwdriver in like the recessed plastic thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
And I was like,
This is
"This
all
what
you
have?"
fucking got?
Yeah. I was like, this is it? You guys don't have a toolbox or something? I mean, it did the job, but it was just a very, like, I don't know when I accumulated so many tools, but I have so much shit, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I have like 12 screwdrivers. It's great that I have like tools from my uncle and my grandfather and my dad and stuff. But yeah, there's like to the point where I probably have too many and I pick up a lot of them and they have those like changeable tips and they just don't have a tip. And I'm like, well, this is basically trash.
Yeah. It's just unusable.
Yeah, it's not usable.
I don't know if you'll remember this, Mike, or if you use them ever, but when Mike and I lived together, like one of our main toolboxes was mine, and it's this set of tools that my dad put together for me. It was like a whole bunch of stuff, like anything you could possibly want. But it like the toolbox he put it. I don't know if it was the toolbox.
It was the toolbox.
or if it was the tools.
It was the toolbox.
But they smelled like
It
ass.
smelled so
like when you
bad.
open it, you get this waft. It still
So
exists.
bad.
I still have
You
these
still have it?
tools.
Just
Yeah.
get a new
Well, the tools
toolbox.
are
I
fine.
literally thought about it, but I was like,
Is it a cloth toolbox?
No.
Oh.
It's like a plastic, rubbery plastic thing.
Weird.
I don't know what the fuck the smell comes from.
It could be the handles on the tools
Like,
too,
that's
because
what I
if
was
you
thinking,
hold
maybe
the
that.
tools,
And then
like
you come
after
away,
you do your work
hands-
and you
There's
put
a-
out your hand, you're
there's a
just like,
stink.
this still
There's
smells
a
like
stink.
like dookie. Men at work
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Men at work. Caution, men at work. Yeah.
Oh,
And you'll
man.
smell it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I remember it. It's like, okay, I need to fix this, but I know it's gonna smell bad
Yeah.
while I do that.
So is it bad
So
enough?
Is it worth it to fix it if I know I'm incurring this smell cost
Yeah.
as part of this this labor here?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I got this toolbox from my grandfather when I was really, really young. And it was like a beautiful, like my first toolbox kind of thing. It was like hardwood and these like chrome, what the fuck do you call it? Like chrome handle and chrome latches and shit. Like it looked really, really nice. And when I first started working at my old job, I would put all my tools in that and felt pretty swanky. Like this is a nice toolbox. But because it was just like solid wood, we just loaded up with tools. It was like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
It was so heavy. And one day I left it in the back of a truck that I had at the time. And it
A
just rained.
truck?
Yeah.
Like a work truck.
Work truck. And it rained. And all the wood just swelled and the thing just like broke apart.
no.
And I was like, this is a beautiful toolbox, least functional toolbox.
yeah, more of an indoor toolbox.
Yeah. More of like a,
Sit it at
something
your
that you'd be like,
workbench.
look at it. Exactly. Like a
Yeah.
workbench thing. You're not supposed to really carry it
No, not a
anywhere.
travel case.
And all that weight on like the little dinky latches was like crazy too, because there's like a flip top.
Oh, so you'd like hold it on the
So
handle.
you'd hold it on the handle, and all like 40 pounds would go on these two little tinny latches. It's like, we designed this shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bummer
man.
you can't get a lot of the old tools that like.
Oh,
our
yeah, dude.
grandparents had.
They just don't make them like they used to.
Times are changing,
They
guys.
They fucking
You know,
don't.
people don't talk about it,
There are
but
some
things are
shovels.
different these days.
There are fucking shovels that we had that I will never have a better
fucking
shovel.
shovels.
Yeah.
Oh,
You guys suck ass.
That's a different kind of
You can
shovel.
eat my whole ass, both of you.
You
One
need a
at a
different kind of
time,
tool for
though.
that.
yeah. I think you need a power tool for that.
But dude, it is so true. Like some of the old things I have, like I got old
fuck
chisels
you.
and shit. No, but you actually hear me out though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is true.
Your point
I hear you.
invalid. Sam's point super
So
valid.
valid. dude.
Fucking
so
bullshit.
valid. Oh man, it's funny. Well, that's
How do-
enough. That's enough tool
Yeah,
talk.
how do you feel when you don't have the right tool for the job?
Just like a fucking idiot. I feel salty, I guess. I know where you're going, but in truth, I just feel like a dumbass. I'm like, have I only destroyed things with these hands in my life? Like, what am I
Yeah.
doing?
Well, you are a dumbass, so that makes sense. But Sam, what is salt?
I don't know. It's too
Fucking
stupid.
worthless. Idiot.
Salt is frustration in the game. It's anything in a game of Magic the Gathering that's going to get you grumpy, a little pissed off, maybe a little sulky, just irritated with what's going on. It could be anything as small as like your commander's just getting countered over and over, and you have a linchpin commander and you really need it on the board. It could be a big thing, like you're getting pub stomped, or maybe there's someone at the LGS that's bullying you. Maybe there's someone in your pod that is bullying you.
Yeah. Maybe there's somebody who's bullying you about tool talk and it makes you sad, and then they go to make their own point.
I
That's
don't
their
think that
same
really-
fucking point.
I don't really think that makes sense, but
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, he's doing it.
If I wasn't attached by the headphones, I would have straight up left.
You're
But
locked
the
in.
headphones was too far to have to
You
take
have to
them
take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to fully like extract.
And then there's your seatbelt and everything as well in the
Yeah,
mine
okay.
cart.
I'm buckled already. So
Oh man. Before we get off the topic of salt, though, I guess maybe
we're about
we'll
to
call
be
this
on the topic of salt for the next
Yeah, we're
fucking
not
40
going
minutes.
off of
What
Well,
do you mean?
We're getting off the definition.
Okay.
Oh wait, Edge of Educational Podcast. Blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
blah, blah, blah,
Fuck
blah.
yeah, cool. We got it. There's a little bit of cured beef, I'd like to call it.
Mm.
Some beef that has been salted
Oh,
and
yeah.
cured. A few episodes ago, we had a story about jelly, mean jelly. And it caused a buzz. It caused a stir in the Discord because we received this salty story from mayonnaise with peanut butter and D's nuts and jelly
This.
from the last Gremlin Boys episode.
Yeah,
And Jelly got put on blast and was really like, Jelly's a bully, all this awful stuff.
Hey, to get blarsted.
Really, like everyone's talking about fuck Jelly, and I don't mean lubricant.
Okay.
I can't wait for like I feel like it needs to be like a brand like jelly.
Fuck Jelly. But the Des Moines crew runs deep, and they came in and really, these nuts jumped in. Our patron Dan. He's like, you call me D's nuts? What the fuck? Our patron Dan came in and really stood up for Jelly, and you know, it was an interesting moment because everybody came in and was like, Jelly's awesome. Like, we didn't know who the people in the Des Moines crew were when we read the story, but like now that I know who Jelly is, our patron Normal Shelling, Jelly fucking rules. If I knew that going in, I would have been so biased in that story. I would have been like, well, you're fucking wrong. This is the sweetest dude I've ever played Magic with. So it's a very interesting thing. And it was cool to see like people stand up for their friend in the Discord. And then Mayonnaise even eventually came in and was sort of like, I wrote that in the heat of the moment. Like maybe, you know, there's different perceptions from different sides. Maybe I was holding a little resentment and wasn't like really talking about things in the moment. So it was just kind of a cool thing I want to highlight. And I wanted to, you know, clear Jelly's good name. But also there was a bit where Mayonnaise was talking about how they wrote that story like right after an inciting, right after like something that made them really salty. And they kind of wrote it in the heat of the moment and like cooled off afterwards. So You know,
yeah, but
maybe
the damage was done.
I know, maybe a cautionary tale for people writing salty stories in the passion of the moment. Like we do get some that are fresh salt, but you know, one, maybe you got to make them a little more anonymous if you're dunking on some friends, and two, you know, maybe pen that story and then let it sit and then
I was gonna
proofread
say,
it the next day.
just wait to send it.
Yeah, wait to send
In your
it.
Outlook send, you know,
Yeah.
set it to send the next day. So
Sometimes you
have
just-
time to think about it.
Need to write that explanatory letter for yourself.
Dude.
And then
Oh man, that's true. The amount of times that I've written like a angry text or
Nastygram,
something
as we like to call
and
them.
just wrote it and got out of my system, and then I was like, cool, I'm good.
If I write
But-
it, I'm sending it.
but still send that
That's
to
not a
us
problem.
because it's good content. we do actually want it heat of the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we still want them, but I don't know. It's
I'll-
just
I'll
an
take
interesting
at the table
moment.
voice memos.
Oh, dude,
This guy at my table right now.
right now, being such a prick. That would be amazing. Actually,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Text to speech that
Yeah,
or whatever the other way.
But yeah, I just figured I'd mention that a little cured beef, enough salt on that beef where it was cured.
Yeah, it was cured for sure.
It was also really funny because people would be listening to the story. Like in our Discord, we have an HSM episode chat. If you're not in the Discord, you probably don't know that. Patreon.com/HowlingSaltMine. It's a really good time. And it's a place where everyone can talk about like this specific episode.
Mhm.
So like the tone of the chat had shifted from, you know, jelly sucks to we're hearing these like pleas for why jelly's great. And then a lot of people are like, okay, it's great to have the context. Like there's a bigger story here. And it was so funny because all day people would jump in and just be like, fuck jelly.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, whoa, like catch up on the
scroll
chat,
up.
catch up on the chat.
I did. And then it would be like, fuck Jelly. I did not read the chat yet.
Yeah.
Jelly's high.
Exactly.
Well, there was
It's so
a-
funny.
When it initially like it was like heated isn't the right thing, but there's a lot of emotions happening.
Oh, yeah.
And it had finally calmed down a little bit, and I read through it. I was like, I really want to be like fuck Jelly right now.
Well,
it
beat
was the wrong
our
thing to do.
patron
Beat
beat
did it.
literally
He
like
beat me
Dan.
to it. I like was looking at it while he did.
Dan had written his huge like dissertation on why jelly is awesome and why the story was maybe not 100% accurate. And like as soon as it said, immediately B was like, yo, fuck jelly. And Flood was just like, excellent timing, as always.
It was so good. 'Cause it
So
literally
fucking
was so
funny.
close to being me. You don't
It
even
was
know.
so perfect, dude. It was like the comedic timing was like one message and immediately his.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. The Discord's a good time. Well, I got some salty stories here. Maybe
That's what I'm looking for.
maybe we got another jelly in here,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
Let's cure some more beef.
Yeah, let's cure some beef. You guys got a search term for me to hit?
I don't know what.
Beef.
Beef is good. Yeah, let's do beef. And this one comes to us from our buddy Ted. What's up, Ted? Thanks, Ted. And this post is titled First Time LGS Experience. And the story goes, I recently played MTG for the first time with a group of friends I play board games with, and I loved it.
Nice.
You know what? You guys don't have to like be like, hey, when you send us posts, but when they don't have it and they just go right into the story.
When they don't have praise, you mean?
Not even the praise, just the like, what up?
What up,
like,
guys?
yeah. It's almost jarring to me now.
Well, on our website, I think there is a character limit. And so like I
okay.
think
Yeah.
sometimes they got to cut that
Yeah,
chaff,
I
you know?
appreciate the concise, right to the point, straight to the salt.
I want the interesting names for us. I like it when they're like Foreman, like Sultans, when they're
fucky
yeah,
boys.
I also
or
like
whatever
it when
they
they're just
say.
like, what's up, fuckos?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's,
Like that's
it's
all
like
I
a hammer.
need, just to, like a little bit. Set the
It's like a hammer
tone.
on your finger.
You set
and
the
it feels
tone,
great.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I recently played MTG for the first time with a group of friends I play board games with, and I loved it. I wanted to build my own commander decks, so I found a local game store to buy singles, and while there, the store owner mentioned that they have a pretty decent crew show up for commander nights, so I should stop by sometime. I got one other friend who lived close by to go with, and we headed over to check it out. There's a pretty good turnout, and we got matched up with two other players that were also waiting for a game. We introduced ourselves and started up a game with the following. I was playing Rafine.
Hey.
My friend was playing Ginny Fey. The third player pulls out his Kalia deck, and the fourth player slaps down not only literal bag of hamburgers, but also his Shelob deck. Like an off-brand Popeye with his spinach, this player was powering his plays by guzzling ground beef.
There's the beef.
Where's the beef? There's the beef.
No, I
Dude,
said
it's
there's the
literally
beef.
It's literally beef. He dropped a land in Mana Dork turn 1, a land and ramp spell turn 2, and in the next few turns had some spiders that could block 8 creatures and some land that can regenerate insects along with his commander and some other spiders. We all realize he's the threat and throw whatever we can to try and slow him down, but he's downing hamburgers with one hand and swatting us away like gnats with the other. I am in awe of this cholesterol ninja, and I get knocked out first, which allows me to sit back and actually watch since I'm not trying to figure out my next turn. At first, I thought I was witnessing amazing deck building and piloting, but it was all a farce. Hidden behind a veil of grease was a more sinister reality. I was thinking over my plays and how it was a bummer I never got a good draw spell, so was low on cards by the end, and how Shelob player always had some trick up his sleeve, heroic interventions and the like. I tried to do the math in my head, and it made no sense, so I started to observe. I watched how he held his cards in one hand in a pile and never fanned them out. I watched how he put them on his lap under the table to play cards which at first seemed like a result of one hand being a designated burger claw. Burger claw. I watched super closely as he drew for turn, falsely fumbling and grabbing too many cards to his lap and then saying oops and only putting back 3 or 4 he drew back. The entire game, he had never played any sort of draw spell. He was cheating. He ended up winning the game with 6 or 7 cards still in hand and a graveyard of spent instants and sorceries stacked as high as his discarded McDonald's wrappers. I can only imagine that his perfect start was orchestrated as well. We got hamburgled. I thought with a grimace. Oh man, very good writing. My friend and I left after that game, and when I told him in the car, it dawned on him as well that the game made no sense. I know this is probably an outlier, but it ruined my experience, and I have no desire to go back to this LGS. Well, thanks, Ted. What a story.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
The burger claw. When the burger claw gets you, dude. When the burger claw gets you. Cheating. Just classic cheating. It's the, you know, it's the joke of like the dockside that's sitting in your lap.
The lap dockside.
Except it's just move. Like every fucking card you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny to like
do that.
You got a burger and you're just like drawing and you're like, oop, oh, greasy fingers, and like slipping them into your lap, or like you put your hand in your lap and you're drawing them like down into your lap or something.
Yeah.
You think it's, but like, do you think that's how it happened? Do you think they were drawing like multiple cards?
So,
or do you think at the beginning of the game? Well, I guess I wasn't.
So. Interesting.
All right.
But I don't know for sure. I guess we're missing some context on like.
Well, maybe
but that specifically isn't context we're missing.
Okay.
Oh, you're a little spicy today. You're a little spicy.
Yeah.
You're a little spicy.
I think the story does talk about how like if it is, it's probably that, and it's probably some other shit, right? Like,
and also they just don't make tools like how they used to, you know.
At least you left. You fuckwad.
Oh God.
I mean, there's.
Oh God. All right. So, I mean, the thing is, like, I think if someone is doing that draw 4, drop them in your lap, be like, oops, and put 2 back. I mean, you can only do that twice in the course of like a hour and a half game before people are like, dude, just stop drawing like that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you do that 6 times, it becomes so obvious. So I do think there has to be another way that they're cheating. Like it can't just be dropping in the lap.
Oh, is that what you think? I have nothing else. I have no thoughts. What do you think?
Do you think they stacked their deck also?
I think nothing. I have no thoughts.
No, buddy, no.
In my mind, I was like, I feel like it's almost more likely that they had like a small stack of them that they just like they shuffled and just like left some in their lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were grabbing things from their lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Rather than like, because that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it feels like it would be so obvious if they kept drawing multiple cards. Like, how would people not notice?
Yeah.
That?
Especially
in person.
Especially when it's like all instance and like reaction stuff.
Well, what
like
do I fucking know, folks?
They don't make tools how they used to, am I right?
Fucking bullshit.
Oh, I love you, Tony. I think you're right though.
There's different like calibers of cheating. And there's even like different levels of cheating well, and I hate. I'm saying that tentatively.
Sounds
I'm
like
not
something that Mike
encouraging
knows a
people
lot
to
about,
cheat
huh?
well, but there's
Teach us, teacher.
Yeah, how do you how do you
All
cheat
right,
well?
All right. What I'm saying is there's cheating that's
I heard
like
you top 60 in a tournament.
I'm saying there's like cheating that is extremely obvious.
Yeah.
Like that are contradicts like the facts of the game and how the game should be going. Like if you have 7 cards in your hand and you play 3 instants to respond to other people, and then you still have 7 cards,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
there's a problem there, right? So sometimes when you're encountering a cheater like this, it's really helpful to try and check in on the things that should be public information. Like if you can't see someone's hand size and you think they're drawing extra cards each turn, ask them after they've drawn their card for turn how many cards they have in hand.
Yeah.
As they pass their turn, ask how many cards they have in hand. You don't have to be, a huge jerk about it, but if someone is taking some of these things that are like literally public information and those things aren't adding up, it's pretty easy to start to point out some stuff of like, hey, when did you draw extra cards? Between your hand and your battlefield and your graveyard, you have 30 cards and we've taken 5 turns.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
that doesn't seem like it's possible. So you can sometimes, just by the state of the game kind of detect cheating because it's gotten out of sync. It's a lot harder if someone is accidentally drawing 3 cards and putting 2 back and they're just taking a free brain freeze at the beginning of their turn. Like technically, brainstorm, thank you. Technically their hand size is still accurate, but they've cheated in a different way. So
yeah.
This sounds like the full on, you could detect it just by trying to push on some of the public information a little bit more too.
I mean, they said they were holding their hand in like a single stack too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really something that people who are trying to hide the number of cards that they have in hand will do.
Yeah.
Or if you got
for
that
sure.
burger finger.
Yeah, that burger,
the burger
finger. Burger finger.
The burger
Little
Nice.
RuPaul reference there.
Oh, Plain Jane.
yeah.
Okay.
I could dig it. I
Right.
could dig it.
Deep cut. Love it. Next player is gonna walk the fucking duck, dude.
They are. You better walk that fucking duck.
What do you think about this soured their whole experience with the LGS though,
Okay,
encountering
yeah.
one player. What do we equate one player to the LGS experience? Like is that fair to rule out the whole store, or is that obviously it's a
Yeah.
bummer to have that experience, and I could totally see how that would drive you away from going back to this store, but you think it's worth another shot, or do you think it's not?
I feel like if you have options, it's just natural. Because you're like, I was here,
Yeah.
it happened here. So that person's probably going to go back here.
Yeah.
Like, why would I even bother?
Yeah. If I have another one to go to, I'll just go there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so as well.
Well, it's unfair because it could be like a great store,
Yeah.
but it's just like natural of
Right.
humans to be a little unforgiving in that kind of a scenario.
But it's
I do
so
think it's
close to the
also-
McDonald's.
I do think it's also something that for a new player to get turned off to an LGS from their first experience,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Because if you're already like an established player and you've played in LGSs before and you know the vibe, you might
there's
just
gonna be
be like,
cheaters. You're
Yeah.
like, whatever.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you might just be like, well, that person's a dickhead, but like, there's other fish in the sea here.
Mhm.
But if you're brand new to Magic, I think it's more likely to turn you off to that experience and be like, oh, I'd rather just play at home with my friends
Yeah.
at the kitchen table or whatever,
Well, what do we think about the salt rating here on this one?
Dude, it's the salty burger, man. It's the thin pounded salty
But those
burger.
are like so good.
They are fucking good. I know.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get one that's like old, like that it's been sitting in that heater drawer all day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even
And,
those, though. I'm gonna rip on them.
I know. I'm trying to like give it something. I will eat it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a little piggy. I am also a Popeye powered by burgers.
Yeah.
But it sucks. It sucks to think you're witnessing, especially when you're trying to learn, think you're witnessing like awesome deck building and be like,
Mhm.
oh man, like this guy has it. Like, what can I learn from this experience?
Yeah.
And then just realize that they're cheating. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Right.
oh, well, I learned that you can like,
Yeah.
put cards in your
Yeah.
lap and win games.
Yeah.
And the point too of like, oh, I needed to be knocked out to have the mental like space to actually
Yeah.
like watch this player and evaluate what's going on, because that is why cheating is possible in environments like this, is because it's so hard to track everything that's going on. Like I was talking about, public information, maybe you can figure it out, but like you also have to be really on your shit to be able to track all of that. And if you're still learning the game, that's not going to be like very possible to do.
Yeah.
So
And
Yeah.
even asking for cards in hand, I feel like is something that we really only do in CDH. I mean, really only started doing it in the last like 6 to 8 months
Yeah.
to be like trying to
I mostly
sniff out
do it to
interaction
be
and
like,
shit,
yeah,
you
can I
know?
win right now?
Yeah,
How many cards you got in your
Yeah,
hand?
like, and how many of them are counter spells?
Yeah.
And how many of them interact with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you stop my win con right now?
Yeah.
You just ask that more. Well, ready for another salty story, guys?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Let's dive in.
Where should we go now?
We did beef.
We did beef, maybe burgers.
We should yeah. Or we try and build a whole healthy meal like with like veggies or something.
Oh,
Fries.
veggies.
Or vegetable.
Vegetable? There's not one for
What
vegetable.
about-
Fry.
what about
I feel like
just-
fry or fries?
Yeah. All right.
That's a vegetable.
agree.
It's
I
a
agree. Yeah.
potato.
I don't know
Potatoes.
if potatoes are
Yeah.
vegetables, but that's fine.
Well,
What the fuck are they then?
Well,
A
I think that's a fruit.
they're starch.
well, they're not
a
a
starchy
fruit.
thing. I mean, they're not a starch in
They're a tuber, my guy.
a
They're
tuber.
they're a starch. It's closer to like a grain when it comes to like your meal makeup.
I feel like if I'm Googling it. I'm done with this bullshit.
There's also,
Is a potato a vegetable?
dude,
Yes.
nice. I love
Yes,
it.
it is. So you guys can shut the fuck up. You fucking
Now,
starch ass
is it a-
grain
Is
bullshit.
it a culinary vegetable or is it
All
a
right, next story.
taxonomic?
It is misdefined.
This one comes to us from our buddy Sasquatch, and the post is titled "Don't Be Like Dickhead Over Here."
Okay.
And the story goes, I just wanted to start by saying I found the podcast earlier this year after Sam's interview on the Harold's Horn podcast.
Nice.
And I've been absolutely loving catching up on old episodes during my commute across town.
Earlier
Wow.
this year was like last year though.
This was last year.
Nice.
But love Harold's Horn. Shout out to Cal and shout out to Dan, our lovely editor, who's also one of the co-hosts on Harold's Horn. Dan rules.
Nice.
While this salt is focused on modern and not EDH, it is freshly mined and had me pretty heated, TBH. I have played Commander for about 2 years at this point and have recently gotten into 60-card formats, mainly modern and standard, as I was looking to get into the more competitive side of Magic, and the CDH is lacking near me, but 60-card formats fire consistently.
Nice.
One of the local LGSs, local gaming store,
Mm-hmm.
hosts a weekly $5 buy-in modern event for store credit, as well as a monthly win a box Modern Horizons 3 modern tournament.
Ooh.
I finally said fuck it and invested in an Is It Prowess deck that is not the strongest deck by any means, but can be extremely explosive thanks to cards like Slick Shot Show Off. Over the last month or so, I've been a regular at these events, never performing too well as I'm learning the format and have multiple bad matchups in the meta right now. But I was never a bad sport, as learning a new format feels like picking up Magic for the first time again to me, and would always take feedback from my opponents or people watching that wanted to help me. With all this feedback, I have been improving, getting more confident, and making edits to my deck to react to the meta, especially once Nadu got banned. Fuck that bird. Rest in piss. A
And
few
you're-
weeks ago,
You're playing your own bird, but
yeah,
We'll
you
get
do.
there in a second.
Slick Shot Show Off is a bird. A few weeks ago, I got paired with some good matchups during the $5 buy-in event and ended up going 2-1 and got to split the pot, $30 store credit, $15 each, with my first round opponent who I had lost to, who we will call Dickhead. DH for short. DH was not happy with this. Quote, but I beat him in round 1. Shouldn't I get the whole pot on tiebreakers? End quote, he says. Which the owner quickly shuts down and adds the credit to our accounts. You see, Dickhead is a regular at these events and is always the loudmouth, know-it-all player that was clearly been playing for a long time, longer than myself. But I digress. The next week, I decide to take a crack at the Win-A-Box tournament one last time before my fall schedule ramps up a bit, and here is where the salt comes in. Round 1 pairings come out, and I get matched up with someone that I have played a decent amount but have a horrible matchup for. I lose game 1 pretty handily, but then in game 2 and 3, the cards I sideboarded in come really in clutch, and I ended up taking the dub. Similar things happen in round 2 and 3, and somehow I end up 3-0 heading into the final round. As I am an aggro deck, my games usually end fairly quickly, and I'm able to walk around and check other people's games, and let's just say Dickhead is having a rough day. He ends up going 1-2, and it is visible on his face that he's not happy about it. As we were waiting for our final pairings, I approach the other undefeated player and offer a split of the booster box so that neither of us can go home empty-handed, which has become a common courtesy between the undefeated players. Dickhead overhears this and says loudly, "Don't fucking do it. His matchup against you is dog shit." I was saltier than a McDonald's French fry at this comment.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag vegetable.
Hashtag McDonald's episode. Hashtag vegetable.
Hashtag vegetable.
Hashtag Mickey D's nuts.
I was saltier at the McDonald's French fry comment, as I have seen Dickhead split with no questions asked, even when he had a better matchup for the finals himself. My opponent laughs it off and agrees to split the pot, but still wants to play as he is recording this for his YouTube channel, which I agree to. I end up playing horribly and punting multiple opportunities, but collected my 18 booster packs and went home. I won't be able to go back to the LGS much more this fall and was really happy with how I played, especially with how much impact my sideboard decisions had. But damn, did Dickhead really sour this night for me in the moment.
Yeah.
It is crazy how much others' salty comments can affect other people at the table or the event. Thank you for reading and creating such an awesome community where we can share our salt. Well, thank you, Sasquatch. We appreciate it. That was a good story.
Good one.
The dickheads at the event, dude.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
That are losing their own games and need to have some impact on the world and try to make somebody else not split.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like, yeah.
You're not involved in that. You don't need to be a part of that.
Like, you're so salty that you have to spread it to other people.
Yeah.
It's like, and it seems like he kind of had like a vendetta against you because of like this other thing, you know, where he beat you in round 1 and you still ended up winning for the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of weird, man.
Yeah. Clearly your decision making is better than this player's decision making anyway.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, Mike, if you were, because you're of us the most likely to be doing this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Say you go into your last round, you're undefeated. Like, what are you doing? Are you splitting?
Yeah, I'm splitting. Especially
really?
if that's the established
That doesn't sound very
pattern
much
at
like
the-
playing to your outs.
at the thing. Well, I would still play the game. You know, I'd do exactly what this other player did. Of,
Yeah.
You know, let's split, but I'll play the game.
Mm.
Playing to your outs is more of like, you gotta not just concede. And this isn't conceding. This is taking the known
But is it not
expected
just
value.
taking? You're just like taking a draw, like
Yeah. Well, you're
A
splitting
draw
the
for
prize.
prizing, though.
You're drawing
Draw
the
for
prize.
prize
but
is
isn't
not
that the
different
same
one.
thing? Like you haven't played the game. You're just like taking the easy road.
1 point is better than 0 points, dude. I'll
I'm not
take
saying
the
you're wrong.
draw.
Like I probably would
take
too.
the draw.
I just would have thought that, I don't know, for some reason
That Mike would play it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like an expected value thing, right? If you've got a great matchup against someone, maybe you win 60%
Yeah.
of games. But even good matchups, the variance is usually high enough that it's pretty tough to do that. So if you got a 60% chance of winning, and then that lays out, you know, your win of all of those packs, or you could get just half the packs. So like maybe you're losing a little bit of EV, but there's also the goodwill of like, okay, you get to play at this store and there's kind of this consistent thing. And another
Yeah.
time you might be the player with the 40% matchup and you're still 3-0 and you get the opportunity to take the split. And so long term, maybe that is actually better for you. And you're recording it for content. So
Yeah.
you just want a little packs to sweeten the deal anyway. I think I would take the split.
I think taking the pressure off is why I would want to do it, to just be like, hey, we're just playing Magic. Like,
Exactly.
we'll split it and
Yeah,
like
let's just have
we each
fun.
get half and just like play the game. And whoever wins, like, cool. But like,
Yeah.
we can't take that little bit of pressure off.
And then that game can just be more fun because
Exactly.
you're not like worried about every decision of the lens of like, this potentially has $100 worth of cards on the back of this,
Yeah.
whether or not I cast this spell. Like that doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, and especially like, I mean, I think Sasquatch made the right call because they, and maybe they knew about this and maybe they didn't, but they had the bad matchup going into that final match. And it's like, hey, I've been lucky all day, but like, am I still going to get lucky on this last match? Maybe, maybe not. Let's just split the packs. My thing would just be like, hey, if you rip something dope, don't tell me.
Oh, same.
Because I hate
Literally, my
splitting a
mind just
box.
now, I was like, but like, you don't open any of those.
Yeah,
packs
don't open them in front of me,
right now.
though. Don't tell me what
Literally.
you got. Give it plausible deniability.
Yeah.
I've never really had anyone who's like had it out for me this bad before. Like it's very interesting. I mean, LGSs like kind of get this dynamic. It's almost like a school cafeteria or something like that, where like people kind of like develop beef with each other and like carry it over from one event to the next and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's kind of a bummer. Like that element of it definitely takes the fun out of it. And knowing that people like this are at LGSs definitely stops me from doing certain events and stop me from, back when I played like War Machine miniature tournaments, it would stop me from doing certain tournaments because there were certain game stores that it was like the people there are like sweaty and kind of mean and
Mhm.
like they were known for having, this sort of vibe where like if you're not cutthroat about everything, like you're going to get trampled on a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why would I even want to go and play there?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, people can be influenced so easily, and that's the frustrating part. Like, this player could have very much been thinking, like, yeah, I'll just split it. And then in that moment, when they're like, nah, don't do it. In the back of their mind, they're like, well, should I
It is a
not
good
do it?
matchup. Yeah.
Like, should I? And it's like, just like, let them make their own decision
Yeah.
and then go from there.
Yeah.
The thing, like, if the local LGS dickhead says that to you, you're probably just gonna be like, shut the fuck up, dude. I'm
Yeah.
splitting.
Now I'm definitely
If it's
splitting.
the local,
The
local LGS store
the
dickhead.
LDH,
Yeah.
the LLDH,
Yeah.
the local dickhead.
Yeah, I do think I love the comments in this about like getting better at the game by
Yeah, I
like
dig
talking
that
to
too.
other people and taking feedback and listening to other people's decision making and hearing advice from other players. That's something that is really cool in competitive formats that like Commander still has sometimes and depends on who you're playing with. CDH players do it a lot of like
Yeah.
talking through post game what could have happened, but 1v1 formats, people are usually very open to being like, at this decision point, like, what were you thinking? Where were we at? Like, what did you have in your hand? Like, talking through to try and improve for future games.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot of space to improve in your basics and fundamentals of how you're playing Magic in dipping your toe into 60 card formats. And you will encounter all different kinds of people and what experiences they're searching for at an LGS in
Yeah.
a tournament like this. But a lot of people are looking for that. Just get some games in, improve how much you know about the game, how you interact with the game. And you just want to try and line up with those people and not end up matched up with the guy going 1-3 and complaining about everything.
Yeah.
I will say in those styles of formats, it is very like one decision point on one turn
Yeah.
loses you the game
Yep.
so many times. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
How much like, oh, I either didn't play the right spell or I should have blocked something that I didn't, or like I shouldn't have blocked. Like one little decision
Mhm.
truly can completely change how the rest of it goes.
Yeah.
It's kind of brutal.
And the way to like talk through those decisions, it's a little bit more clear cut than like CDH, because
Yeah.
CDH, there's always this social element of like, well, what are the other people going to do? How are they going to react to those plays?
Yeah.
Whereas with 1v1, it's so cut and dried. You have
Yeah.
one opponent. All your removal spells are pointed at them.
Yep.
Theirs are pointed at you.
Yeah.
It's I don't really play. I've never played standard competitively or modern or any
Mhm.
60 card formats, but with like Pokemon Pocket TCG, that's kind of like my one touchstone to it. And when I talk about like meta decks and stuff with the other prospectors in the Discord, like it's fun and interesting to get in those conversations because we can really break down like card selections. We're like, well, why do you like this card right now? Like, why are you running this one?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because it's really good in the meta matchup, this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, it's cool. I dig it. If I had more free time, I would love to get into like modern or something like that. I think I do miss the vibe of those 60 card games because there is something that's so like, I don't know if it's like cutthroat about it or just like the really precise decision making that
Yeah.
you have to do that I really, really enjoy. And like thinking a couple turns ahead that you can still do in Commander and you can still do in CEDH, but it's a little bit harder to get that vibe. And
Because there's more variance.
yeah, there's just so much variance. Like you can think you're thinking 2 turns ahead for you and another player, and then a third player is just like, well, I'm just going to drop this random thing. You're like, oh shit, okay, everything's changed.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Yeah. So that's cool. I dig it.
What do we think about the salt rating here on this one?
Dude, dickhead is a dickhead. I mean,
Yeah.
He's a local
Appropriately.
dickhead.
yeah, LLDH, appropriately titled for sure. It's just, I don't know. It's just like one person trying to spread their misery around
Mhm.
and like, hey man, sorry that your day sucked ass and you lost a bunch of games, but like, I don't know, chill.
Yeah.
It's like, calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basic, classic salt.
Yeah, just a salt lord salting off.
Yeah.
I do think the author of the story won half of a box of MH3.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's pretty
kind of
fucking
sweet.
sick.
That's pretty
Exactly.
cool.
Exactly.
That's the vegetable part of the fry right there. You know,
That's
pretty
where
good.
That's the healthy part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the healthy part. Yeah.
All right. Well, how about one final story, guys?
Let's do it.
What should our search term be here? We've done beef, vegetable, fry.
What about Coke
I was gonna say
or
Coke
drink?
next.
Coke or drink, right?
Coke feels like
That's part of the combo meal.
Yeah.
Let's do drink because nothing should
Let's
have
do nugget.
All right, we got something for drink here.
Nice. I would hope.
This one comes just from our buddy Shun, and the post is titled "So Long, Farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, Wrath of God."
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
And it is a long one. Everybody, please buckle up. Oh, dude, somebody in the Discord said that they should send us
Buckles.
like
So that we
seatbelt
can
buckles.
actually.
So we can like buckle in.
I mean, I've thought about it.
A great
If somebody
prop.
sent
That'd be
it to
amazing.
us,
Would be a
it'd be
good
great.
prop.
Yeah, someone sent it. We would install them on the couch and chairs here. Okay, this one goes. Greetings, briny buds from.
There it is.
How do you
There's the intro you
Aotearoa?
wanted.
Aotearoa, New Zealand. If you're nasty, sorry, I
What?
butchered that horribly. Aotearoa.
That's- I felt like a
I'm
dog,
nasty, and
and
I'm
you
gonna
just
say-
spelled
and I'm
like
gonna say
bone
New
or
Zealand.
walk, and I like
Yeah.
it just didn't register.
Finally managed to catch up on all the episodes after hearing you on Am I the Bullcast?
Nice.
And I've been hooked since.
Love
Love the
Mike.
banter, love the stories, love the salty songs the most. Wow, we're getting a lot of shout outs to our crossover buddies in this episode. This is great. This story is not from my usual playgroup, which consists of my wife and 2 children, all of whom I taught to play the winter. We lived in Japan, teaching, skiing, and running a lodge. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Cool.
I hadn't played since 4th edition, so it was a bit of a learning curve for me. But meters of snow, freezing temperatures, and darkness by 4 in the afternoon led us to look for something we could all do as a family. This led to an Amazon search and the discovery of the Game Night set that came with 5 ready-to-play 60-card decks. This, of course, led to us needing to branch out and make our own decks, and it hasn't stopped, especially since we discovered Commander. I would share a story from our family play group, but I wish to stay married and not anger the salty ogre. So I will instead regale you with a story from
Wow.
our local game store.
That's
If
dicey in
that keeps
itself.
you married, then like
Yeah.
Right? Local is in quotes, as it's an hour drive to Christchurch from our life in the country. Our village consists of 20 people.
Hmm.
Wow, that's 5 pods. Get round up the whole village. It's a great shop that opened recently with owners that
we went
really
to
are
such
great.
different places there. I was like, fucking kill me. Like, if I said 20 people, and you're like, oh, that's 5 pods.
Dude, 20 people, that's classic JRPG town. There's
Yeah.
probably like an inn, an item shop. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a great shop that opened recently with owners that really are great at being inclusive of people and games. The highlight for me is the weekly Commander League, with prizes given out quarterly based upon 1, who won the most, 2, who had the most plays of the games, and 3, best sportsmanship. My son and I are the only ones keen enough to go, but we try and make it every couple of months. You sign up for the league stating power level, which is broken into 3 tiers. This is before the official levels came out, obviously. Casual, optimized, and CEDH. We stick to the casual and optimized, though listening to you guys is making me want to try CEDH. Hell
Do
yeah,
it.
do it.
Do it.
Do it. Just 2 games a night, hour and a half to complete each match, random pods, and of course, the opportunity to play while you wait for the next round. Usually, I have a blast. I almost never get salty and usually like to laugh, have fun, and celebrate each player and deck as they pop off or sympathize when they don't. However, one night, even I was tested. Second scheduled match of the night, 4-player pod, me running Captain Ingathrod, tuned up precon with some mill-out combos, Kenny running Duretti, Scrap Savant, Kyle running some Azorius control deck, and Cartman running
Nice.
Mr. House, President and CEO. Nice, I get a little South Park reference there.
I have a premonition of what's about to happen to Kenny.
You bastard. Game started off with us on the back foot to Kenny as he was popping off despite only having 3 lands, graveyard filling big bombs, hitting the battlefield, and the rest of us looking at each other pleadingly. Eventually I said, "Can anyone do anything about that?" pointing to Kenny's board. Kyle answered, "I can, but you may not like it." Despite this warning, Cartman and I told him to go ahead. Farewell. Oh,
Auf Wiedersehen.
well, that certainly took care of that, I commented as I watched everything go away forever, including Kenny's hopes and dreams as he was effectively removed from the game. He was on 3 lands. Still, the game had to move on, so we began to rebuild. In spite of Kyle's attempts to slow me down and Cartman running his confusing mess, he was using red poker chips for treasure tokens and white poker chips for his robot artifact creatures, but was a bit sloppy with his pile, so had a hard time telling what was on the board and what wasn't. I asked him a couple of times to shift his non-board tokens away, and he did happily. I think it was more of an oversight than anything malicious. I was pulling ahead, though. That's when they exchanged a look. Can you do anything about that? Kyle asked. Cartman said yes. Farewell. Again. Oh. Needing my opponents to have graveyards, this set us all back again. Somewhere along the line, Kenny was killed, incidentally, get fucked 4th player,
Nice.
as we rebuilt, me searching for things to steal from Kenny before Cartman killed him off to remove the things I had stolen from him from the game. Despite this, I rebuilt and was soon in the lead again. They exchanged the look again. Like a bowl of petunias, I said to myself, oh no, not again. Farewell. Part 3. Oh. Cartman was able to go into Kyle's graveyard and recast it, setting all of us back. By this time, my son had finished his scheduled match and a second one and came over to see if I was ready to make our long drive home. I explained that it was still our first match and that this was the 3rd farewell of the game. He slumped his shoulders and went and got a drink as he was stuck waiting for me. Rebuild again. I managed to finally kill Kyle, leaving me in a one-on-one with Cartman. It's close, but I managed to get to a point and have lethal on him next turn. I pass. I probably shouldn't do this, he says as he untaps. No, it couldn't possibly be. Wrath of God. Oh. Oh! It's an exclamation point on that one. As he passes the turn to me, I realize I'm finally out of the farewell hell caused by the exiling of graveyards. Command the Dread Horde works. I pull out lethal from my graveyard again, pass the turn, and look at him pleadingly. Dear God, let this end. He concedes, and our long national nightmare is ended. On a drive home, my son and I laugh about how that was the longest game we've ever played or seen. We discussed farewell before, until the night being undecided on whether it was a salty card or not. Well, I think you know our answer now. Keep feeding us the salt that we crave, Shun. Thanks, Shun. I appreciate that. 3 farewells. 3 farewells.
Goodbye.
Let me hit these decks
Farewell.
again.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Wrath of God.
Wrath of God.
That's a great title.
Yeah.
It's an all-time great.
So Kyle was on an Azorius control deck, so that's where one farewell came from. And then Cartman was on Mr. House, President and CEO, which I think is what are the colors on that? Yeah, Mardu. So that's where the other farewell came from. They both had farewell in their deck, and then one person recast one from a graveyard. Brutal, dude.
Savage.
Especially when you need graveyards. Like farewell, you know, we've talked about it a lot on the show, but sometimes people don't pick all of the modes and you still can eke out some value. But when it's just 3 times cast, 4 modes picked every single time, you're fucked.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you
what can you
doing
do?
at that point? Yeah. I recently chose to not play a board wipe. That would have kept the game
Hey,
going.
he's a changed man, folks.
Wow.
Changed fucking
Yeah.
man. In what
Yeah.
game?
Yeah, what
Wasn't
was
with
this?
me.
Was this a patron game?
No, it was a game I was playing at a brewery. It was a 3-person game.
Okay.
Oh, that's why. You did
And it was
You're like, I shouldn't be doing this to begin with.
no, it was
So I'm not gonna make it go
a little
even
bit.
fucking longer.
It was after a friend's wedding. He had said, "Hey, bring some Magic decks."
Oh, hell yeah,
So it
dude.
was the day after, and we all like went out to a brewery just to catch up.
Yeah.
So he was the groom. So he was like saying goodbye. Like people had all come to
He's
this.
saying farewell.
We were saying farewell. We were like playing Magic. People were like saying goodbye and saying like, love, amazing wedding. So happy
Yeah.
for you. And he'd be like, oh, great to see you. And then like
Turn and hug
turn
and then back.
play a spell or two. And we were like, an hour in. It wasn't a crazy long game, but there had
Yeah.
been one board wipe already.
Yeah.
And I was playing Dimir Fairies, which lives off of wiping the board and drawing off of all the fairies that you controlled die.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So even symmetrical board wipes are asymmetrical because you get the card draw off of it. And we were, a lot of people had said goodbye already at this point, and it was like starting to be the time for things to end.
Yeah.
and had to make the call to not save my ass with the board wipe. I did it.
Oh, dude.
So-
That's growth
I'm
right
proud of
there.
you.
But
I'm proud
if
of
it
you,
had been a
man.
4-player game, would have ripped it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, I think that they're like, we've talked about it before, but sometimes I feel like, especially if a game's been going on for over an hour already and it feels like it's going to end soon, I'm usually not one to rip a board wipe. I feel like there's almost a social thing with like, we've been here for an hour. Do we really need to board wipe again?
Yeah.
Again, these guys are playing in like a league or some kind of event with, potentially prizing and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I just
It's a
take them
little
out of my
different.
deck, so it's not even a question.
Yeah.
Like I don't even
Yeah.
draw into it. Like I just don't like it. We know this. I've said this a bunch. Like
I'm putting them in my
fucking hate
decks
'em.
more these days because there are times where you need a board wipe and like to have one in your back
I
pocket.
just need it to be over. Even if that means I lose, like that's fine. I'm like, I need this to be done.
But
I don't need a
sometimes-
board wipe. I need it to be done, is what I need.
Sometimes I do. I have been noticing games lately.
Yeah, you can
Where
want
I'm
a
like,
board
I
wipe.
want
That's all
one.
right.
I
But
want
like, you
one
don't
right
need it.
Yeah, but like I think having a couple in your deck isn't a bad move. But it definitely like, I remember when I first started getting into Commander and I would listen to Command Zone and they would do like their deck formula episodes.
Yeah,
and they were like, you need
3
10
to
pieces of
5.
interaction. Yeah, like
Yeah,
all
like
this kind of
10
stuff.
ramp,
And it was
these
3 to
things,
5
like-
board wipes
yeah.
was the number that they said,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah, which is fucking wrong.
Now it's like 1 or 2 that I put in. If that. Some of my decks just purely don't even have them because I'm greedy. And I
Yeah.
want that value.
Yeah.
Well, what do we think about the salt rating here on this one?
Ground down to dust. You were a big salt crystal at the beginning of this game, and farewell after farewell ground you down to nothing.
Honestly, seemed like pretty. You were very controlled about all of it. I would have been losing my fucking mind. Like when they went to play the Wrath of God, I would have been like, "Fuck off! Are you gonna win right now? Because if you're not gonna win, don't fucking cast that shit." I literally would have done that. I would have been like, "If you are not gonna win, do not do this. I'm done." Also, I've got a fucking kid. I gotta drive an hour. You fuckwad? Like, are you kidding me? I am more salty about it than you are, and you lived it.
Yeah.
And if my opponent salted off in my face like that about the board wipe, I'm ripping the board wipe.
Oh, for sure.
I'm 100.
For
I'd be
sure.
like, "Fuck you,"
And the thing that I love about this story is actually that the opponent concedes at the end.
Yeah.
So to me, this is like this is definition play to your outs. Right?
Definitely.
They're seeing a mill deck that needs things in the yard. Farewell. Perfectly reasonable response to things. One
Yeah.
player gets out ahead really early and everyone's struggling to deal with it. Farewell deals with it. Okay, perfect. Like these are literally the play to your outs moments.
Yep.
But the moment you play Wrath of God and then they reanimate everything, concede. Like that.
Yep.
That's it. You're no longer playing to your outs. You're no longer potentially winning. Maybe Wrath of God clears the board. They don't have anything to reanimate a bunch of stuff, and you get to build up and come out with a win.
Yeah.
That's fine. This is all okay to me. The fact that the game puts itself in a state where these are the right moves, that can be bothersome and that can be
For
frustrating.
sure.
And it taking a long time, that would be annoying. I think being the son, I would be the saltiest. Where like
Yeah.
I'm done with 2 games and my dad's still playing. Damn.
Yeah, dude.
I guess I'll go. My shoulder's slumping. I go get a drink.
Yeah.
That adds up. But
I'm like, Dad, slip me a 5 so I can go get a Coke at least.
I know.
Like-
Yeah. Give me a candy bar or something. You know? Yeah. I think that you guys are right. Like this player definitely took it very well. And that's the interesting thing about like the 1v1 we were talking about in the last story is that when your outs are cooked, you can just concede. Whereas sometimes in Commander, when your outs are cooked and there's still 2 other players,
the other player might wheel you.
yeah, or you got to hang in, or like the out is still potentially there, and it does kind of draw things out. But to be in like the 1v1 and be like, I'm fucking cooked, the game's over. You know, sometimes that feels good when a game ends that way.
Yeah.
In a concession like that.
Well, Sam,
Yes, Tony?
is it that time of the week?
Tony, I think it is that time of the week.
Oh, baby, well, lay it on me. What time is it?
It's the time of the week that comes every week.
Every motherfucking week, baby.
It's the time of the week where we say, Mike,
Mike.
Uh-huh.
what's the salty card of the week?
The salty card of the week this week is
I guess I grew up losing to Turbo. Agua goblins beat my fungus and mold. Till I found out that their deck would fold when I played one of the saltiest cards in the world. When I played fast, I guess I played mean. There's still 50 cards in my deck that I haven't seen. And now my deck can even stop playing green. Feeling my meta come apart at the seams. Thank you, Static Orb, old number 7. Stacks pieces got me playing in heaven. You know, I want to play casually, but land denial puts me in bracket 3.
What the fuck song was that?
This song is Old Number 7 by Devil Makes 3, an amazing bluegrass song that I just totally butchered.
Can you record a good version of that and just play it directly
that?
on top of you performing it live?
Play it over me.
Just dub it.
Bumbling
Just
in.
dub it over.
That I could potentially, but will
Note
I?
how he said a good version.
Probably not. And of course, that one comes to us from our buddy Sratna Sequoia. I got Sequoia hooked on bluegrass during our music league in the Discord, and Devil Makes 3 is one of my favorite bands. I've seen them in concert like 10 or 12 times.
Oh, damn.
Well, thanks, Sam. That was a lovely salty song. The salty,
Thank you.
the salty card of the week this week is Painful Quandary.
Oh, dude. Fuck this fucking card.
Nice. It is 3 and 2 black for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, you feel positively about this one, presumably?
Brutal card, dude. I mean, we play against this. I feel like every time Nick plays his Mogus deck,
Mhm.
this card comes out. So, you know, this is you're really only seeing this in like very salty decks, like Tiny Bones or Turgrid or Mogus, these like group slug decks that want to just like burn you out and grind down your resources. So I really hate playing into this card. With some decks, the discarding can be almost advantageous. But generally speaking, over the course of the game, it's going to fuck you over and your hand is going to dwindle and your life is going to go down.
Mhm.
And it's always this question of like, okay, well, I got 5 cards in hand. I could go to 4. I'm at like 30 life. I could go to 25. And I'm always feeling like I made the wrong choice. And I'm like, I wish I had just
Mm.
kept a little bit more life or kept that fucking card. Like I need it now.
Yeah.
It's just a really hard card to play through, especially if you don't have like aggressive draw to refill your hand and shit. Because that's the way to play it is like have a lot of cards and be discarding and saving your life.
Yeah.
Or have some, I guess if you had life gain, you could balance it out as well.
Yeah.
But it's a tough one, man. And is it symmetrical? It hits all players?
Opponent.
All opponents. Yeah, that fucking sucks too.
Yeah.
That sucks so bad too. Because some of those like black enchantment group slug effects are symmetrical. Or so they like hit the person who's playing them too.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad. You're like, oh, we're all dealing with this. But when it's that one, and it's just so brutal, man.
Mhm.
It's a brutal effect. I do not like that card.
Tony, how about you? Will this make you salty?
It's interesting because I feel like it's the thing that comes down, and at first you're like, "That's not so bad. I'll just like pay 5 life," and it feels not bad, but it is bad.
Yeah.
And like it's only 8 cards.
Yeah. If
Right,
you've
like
lost no life
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
anything
If you've
else,
lost no life and
You
you're
got
not
7
going to
cards,
discard
really.
anything,
'cause the 8th
you
will
can-
kill you.
Yeah, the 8th, you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like that's not very many.
Yeah.
Play my Mox Opal, like pay 5 life for it. You know.
Yeah, dude. It feels bad.
Yeah. And so I think it's almost deceptive. Like on the rip, people are like, oh, it's not that bad until they're like basically dead as a result and realize they just can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to have like a big turn. I feel like it puts you in a spot where you're like, I can really only cast 1 spell a turn.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. And if I'm casting 2, they better be fucking amazing.
Well,
'Cause
the
you're
thing is,
taking such a hit.
you don't get to that until it's too late.
Yeah.
Because you are just playing things to advance your board to do whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I can really do like 2 more spells. So now
Yeah.
they have to have such a huge impact. So it either has to be removal for the thing
Yep.
or like, I got to like win the game.
Yeah.
off of it.
You got to push
So,
a win. It
Yeah.
fucking sucks,
What do you
man.
think, Mike?
I think it's aptly named. It is a painful quandary that you
Yeah.
get put in.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
which of these am I going to do? And I think your
That's
point,
flavor.
I think your point of like right at the end there, people try and get too cute with effects like this, where they're like, well, this is hurting everyone. I can leave it out a little bit longer.
Mm.
I'll remove it eventually. And then you do get to that point where you're like, oh, I really can't remove this. And
dude.
decks that run this are often a resource denial deck broadly, like you mentioned, Tiny Bones or Turgrid and
Yeah.
stuff. And this might hit and you're like, okay, I still have 5 cards in my hand. Maybe I'll pitch one of these to interact with this at some point. Like I should be okay. And then someone makes you discard 2 cards or makes everyone discard 2 cards. And suddenly you're like,
Yeah.
okay, wait a second. I knew this was going to be bad, and this is getting problematic now, like way beyond where I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, when you layer it up with other effects, like Mogus already is making you sack creatures or lose 2 life.
Yep.
So, you're taking the ping from Mogus, losing 2, and then you cast a spell and you lose 5. Now you're down 7. It's like it adds up with all these other effects that are happening, And you eventually get to a point where you can't discard cards.
Yeah.
And you have to take the life, and it fucking sucks, man. I think about it like you're talking about like the card or 5 life. What's that X spell? Is it one of the finales? The one where you sacrifice things?
Torment of Hailfire.
Torment of Hailfire. Like Torment, you can sacrifice things, of course, but Torment is discarding a card or losing 3 life.
Yeah.
And losing 5 is like a significant upgrade. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot, man.
Yeah. It's frustrating too when there's cards like this where if one player is really ahead, I've talked about this on a bunch of these other cards. If one player is drawing 10 cards in their turn every turn because they set up some ridiculous value engine, they're not the one hurt by this, which is equally annoying.
Sucks.
Because sometimes the player playing this isn't even the one getting the most benefit out of it. Like if there's another that can really break parity.
Which low-key feels good because I think this happened to me in one game because I think he was playing it and I was playing Rafine.
Oh, yeah.
I just,
And you're
like,
fucking
had
fine.
a draw thing out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I want to discard cards. I want to do that. I was like, thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if you're on a fucking
Reanimator
like
or something.
Yeah, reanimator or something. You like when I used to play Alesha into decks like this, I'd be like, sweet, I'll discard like my greatest bomb and I'll reanimate it next turn. This is great.
I'll cast Necromancy, trigger Painful Quandary. I'll discard Abdel Adrian. Nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, where does it fall on the top 300 salty cards, Mike?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I really would.
Sam?
I really would.
How about you take some guesses? Listener at home, write your guesses in the comments. Write them on your pencil and paper.
Write them on your pencil.
Write them on the
Write them
pencil.
on the pencil.
Write it on a
in paper.
grain of rice.
Draw them in the sand. Pour out some salt.
Write them
it
on
in
your
the salt.
starch.
Yeah, write it on a grain
Write
of
it on
starch.
write it on a good vegetable potato.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Fucking used an old tool while you're at it.
Yeah.
Fucking pieces of shit.
All right. You've gotten enough time.
I got my guess.
It's in the comments.
I got my guess.
You've liked however many videos of ours you think this is the salty card for. I don't know.
You ready, Tony?
Hit me with the
I
guesses.
think so. I think I'm gonna say 162.
I'm saying 75.
Tony breaks his losing streak.
I've been winning.
You have not.
Shit.
You have not. It was 240.
240?
Damn.
240.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. This should be way higher, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah, but it's not. 240.
Yeah. So
I
get
guess-
fucked.
Does it just not appear in a lot of decks? Like what's the percentage at? I'm curious about that.
It's actually in quite a few decks.
Yeah, so you're just an idiot.
It's
so.
in 73,000 decks.
What?
73,000
What-
decks.
what's
on
the
EDH
percentage
rec.
on that?
That's 2.3%.
That's a
Okay.
high
Which is
percentage.
Yeah, that's
marginally.
sizable.
Yeah, it's not zero. So
Yeah.
it's like a pretty high percent.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
And were we-
Especially for a monocolored deck.
Yeah,
Or a
I'm
monocolored
I'm
card
just
where
like
the
really good at this
percent of-
game.
Yeah,
so
you're
like,
like
that's
super-
the
yeah, I mean, like a broken
Yeah.
clock is right twice
And
a day.
like-
You know?
Yeah.
Sam just doesn't know how to do it.
You
so.
did hit a couple of the popular commanders with it. Turgrid's up there, Tiny Bones is up there. Though it's not, neither of those are the highest though.
What's the highest?
The
Is it
highest
that?
is-
What's that Mardu enchantment dude reanimate stuff?
No,
Gen?
but I'm putting Gen together, and this might go into it. I'm at like 25 cards of Gen put together.
Wow.
but just from collection.
Oh, in paper.
Yeah,
okay.
in paper.
Wow.
So
okay, that
we're-
actually
we're-
is. That is.
You like have a list.
So I was like,
I was like, wow, you built a box
I've
with
seen you-
25
yeah, I've
cards.
seen
Cool.
you make 30, 100 card
Put
lists
30
on
lands in
Moxfield
there.
that
Yeah.
you've not finished. But paper, oh, actually, okay, we're starting to get somewhere. No, the top
I got
commander
25 and it's 25
They're
lands.
all lands.
and an arcane signet. You can't forget the arcane signet. The top
But I
commander.
didn't have another copy of Soul Ring, so I don't know.
Yeah, I proxied that.
Proxy one.
The top commander is Valgavoth,
Oh.
Harrower of Souls, but the 4-cost one. where it
What
has
do you do?
flying, ward, pay 2 life, and then whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, you put a +1/+1 counter on Valgavoth and draw a card.
Oh,
it's
that's
bad.
pretty
So it's
good.
just a
You just
way to
want people to
force people to
drain.
lose life. And then
Yeah.
if they're using instants on other people's turns and losing life, then it's just another
Yeah,
way
that makes
of getting
sense.
counters.
Damn.
Yeah,
Well, it's a good salty card there, Mike.
that wraps it up for the salty card of the week. Thanks for playing.
And thank you to all of our prospectors at home for tuning into another episode of the Howling Salt Mine. I'm going to shout out our Salt Packet Plus tier members. And this week we have The Quiet One, Brimstone, Sire Speedy, Gilgamesh, Pez, Elgo Fogel, Doug's Dad, Bark Bark, Thotimus Prime, Captain Kraz, Rothbox, D. Beeson, Clearbrook, Bobo Fett, Vok, and Swankub. Thank you for all your support. And thank you to everyone that tunes into the show. Thanks for watching our YouTube shit. Thanks for checking out the shorts. Thanks for checking out our Instagram reels also, if you're doing that. And thanks for sending things to our P.O. box. Perhaps if you have, that would be really cool. If you want more Howling Salt Mine, I'm just rolling.
You're doing
I'm
great.
rolling.
You're
You're doing
dude.
so good.
I'm just rolling, man. I'm just doing it.
Rolling
live.
is a
It's
word.
jazz,
to
baby.
Yawn is
describe it.
totally unrelated. You're doing great.
Yeah. It's jazz, baby. If you want more Howling Salt Mine content in your life, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Howling Salt Mine. That's where we have our awesome Discord community that we've been talking about. It's where we have all of our bonus content. Every month you're going to get an extra salt episode. You're also getting stray grains, all the little bits and shorts that we can't fit into a regular episode. We take them and package them up and give them to you there. It's a really good time. We have a lot of fun in there. What else is cool? We do Patreon game nights once a month that are it's a really good time. We got one coming up this week. Should be good. If you want to support us another way, follow us on our social media, check out the YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. Engaging with the content helps boost it in the algorithm, as we're learning with YouTube. And when people do, it really does make a difference. Like, we see a difference in the metrics of episodes where people are commenting and liking and sharing it with other people versus the ones where they're not. It's free to do. It's very easy, and it helps us. We don't advertise at all, so everything's word of mouth. It's all algorithm driven. So if you're doing that, we really appreciate you. Another way that you can help support us is to give us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app of choice, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what have you. Leave a review. All that kind of shit is good. Check out our merchandise. We got shirts on Bonfire. I designed a new one for Vegas, which is really, really cool. Vegas has probably already happened by the time that this came out, but it's kind of an evergreen design. It's just interesting. It says untap, upkeep, salt, and it's like a cool kind of bicycle Joker or bicycle king
Card.
style
Yeah.
card. But with a little skull and a salt shaker and a grip of magic cards. So check it out. I really enjoy it. And I can't wait for ours to arrive. So they haven't yet. You can also get other shirts. You can get our play mats from Jank Mats. You can also go use our affiliate code on Dragon Shields, which is Stay Salty, all one word, all lowercase. You're going to get 5% off your purchase. Thanks to Dragon Shield for supporting us. We love you. What else do we say?
There's just one
last but not
person.
least,
Yeah.
we got to shout him out. Hi, buddy Devin Burnett, for drawing our beautiful podcast art, as you can see immortalized in this lovely sign on Tony's shirt as well. That's a Bonfire shirt. You can get that shirt.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Asheville, North Carolina, hit him up and get a tattoo because he's a really cool guy.
10,000 subscribers are bust.
Indeed. Well, thanks again, everybody. Stay salty. And as always, don't forget to draw an additional card during your draw step.
It's the Howling Salt Mine. The Howling Salt Mine.
What are we going to open with the show? I could talk about how I hurt my fingy.
Oh, yeah, we could talk about
Or
that.
just home improvement
That's
shit.
good.
Home improvement shit. I ain't got no fucking home.
This shirt's from my brother's bachelor party. That was my backup.
Oh, did you do that recently?
No.
But before we go any further, you know what we got to do. Shout out our nice tier patrons and clap for Dan.
Oh, fuck.
All right. I think that's enough.
I think that probably made it worse.
Probably. Shout out. No.
Oh, I thought you meant like do one more like.
No, I did not.
Oh,
I did not
I
mean
did
that.
it.
That's why when I said that's enough, I actually meant like you had done it enough times.
Okay.
Shout out our nice tier patrons. And this week we have is that it? Is that it, guys? Do you like my hand movements?
Yeah, I was admiring how many varietals
Thank
you've
you.
got
I
there.
am casting a spell. So
that's
This
what you're
one was
doing?
new.
did I do that?
You gestured with the pinky,
You know,
but it was like
It's 'cause I'm
this. I think
fucking
it was maybe
fancy.
like this.
It's because I'm fancy
good.
as
maybe
fuck, bro.
maybe I was about to do like a shaka and I kind of
Maybe you were
that.
webbing up the camera.
Go web go. The folks at home are loving it.
Yeah, I bet.